Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here in the KSL Stream Center. I'm Shara Park. We're bringing you in this morning because we have had some breaking news down in the Provo area where we have had a body that was discovered in a shed overnight or last night. And we've had some disturbing news come from that as a homicide investigation is now underway. And we learned that a missing Springville woman has been connected to this case. I've got Brian Carlson, who has been out there at the scene overnight, joining us now. Brian, walk us through what you know in this case. It was just really minutes ago that the missing woman was connected to this body that was discovered in this shed. So walk us through what's going on down there.
Yeah, the timing was pretty interesting. I mean, if you want any kind of news transparency, I just put out my report saying we were thinking that she may be connected to it. We didn't have that confirmation yet. And then all of a sudden the confirmation came through from Springfield Police that it was her, and that we had to rewrite everything, redo the upcoming news story we're doing for television. And I'm getting some updates about the script we put out on the internet that should be there momentarily. But let me just kind of start back from where we kind of thought this would be going. So we got word from police late last night that this body was found here at this apartment in Provo. In fact, we're parked right next to it. That's the apartment building right there. You're looking at home where the body was found. It's in the backyard of that apartment building. So they got a call, 911 call over the weekend saying, hey, we heard from someone that someone may have died. Well, that wasn't the person who had tipped off police. They had said, hey, look, we heard from somebody else that this guy had killed somebody. Well, they talked to that person who then said, yeah, I talked to this guy and he admitted that he did something wrong. He pulled a Rick, is what he said. Now, what that meant was that Rick was a family member who previously murdered his girlfriend, and this guy had dated a woman named Lisa who was missing in Springville. And so this tipster put two and two together and then told police that. They came out and found the woman's body inside the shed behind this apartment building, and they were able to say that there was a sheet kind of holding everything back, as almost to contain the smell, perhaps. And I talked to some neighbors who were out here, and they said that there was also this guy who was the accused killer, who had been burning wood, not like on a barbecue or anything, but he was burning wood just outside the apartment for a number of days. And the neighbors I talked to think that he may have been doing that to try and cover up the smell. Another interesting thing was the neighbors think that this guy was such an ordinary type guy. They said, quote to me, that it's just another guy who you'd see at the grocery store. Very friendly, nice to talk with. They go out and have smokes together outside the apartment here, but you never would have guessed that he was the guy who was capable of committing murder. But here we are talking about this man arrested for the murder of this woman who's missing in Springville.
Okay, and so what we have here is 53-year-old Arturo Carrion, who has been arrested and booked into the Utah County Jail for investigation of murder. This all unfolding in the 700 block of Heather Lane there in Provo. So tell us a little bit about what we know about the victim. We understand from Springville that this is a woman who was reported missing in December. Is that correct, Brian?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing there. So you have both of that coming from Springville Police's Facebook page, where they put out this call to find her. I believe that was posted January 29th, if you're looking that up on social media and you want to see who we're talking about. So they posted on 29th, she'd been missing out of December. But you have this conversation we're getting from a court document from police that we just got this morning, stating that they were aware of this person named Lisa, who, the spellings here is important, L-E-S-A. And so they knew that there was a Lisa, L-E-S-A, who was missing out of Springville. And that's what's helped us connect that this morning, is how many Lisas, L-E-S-A, do you know? So police were under the impression they knew that she'd been missing out of Springville. And they had had a long relationship where apparently back in November, there was some kind of domestic violence arrest that he was guilty of, that he was arrested for. And so he blames the police for kind of leading to her death. Now, what that was, it's really unclear at this point. We just know they had a dating history that he had committed some type of domestic violence against her, and then shortly after that, the next month, she goes missing. And then she may have been here the entire time. That's still an to be determined.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at this article from Pat Reevy here at KSL.com. Lisa Hyde, last seen around the end of December, according to that Facebook post that Brian just mentioned there from Springville Police on January 29th. And talking about that aggravated assault on December 12th that he was charged with in 4th District Court, where in that case he was accused of strangling his partner at that time, Lisa. So we are looking at a history of domestic violence in this case, and now we have this woman who has turned up dead in this shed, and we really don't know how long she's actually been there. I think that's the big question now too, Brian, is how long was she in that shed, and what unfolded leading up to that moment where she ends up there. And so what is the scene like there? I assume there's still a lot of investigating happening.
Yeah. Now, I did talk with Provo Police this morning, who gave us an update a bit on that. So we know that the medical examiner has retrieved her body. That happened around 3:45 this morning. And then you have investigators, at least from Provo Police, and what they're telling me is they did most of their work yesterday. And so this goes back to the call came in around 4 something yesterday afternoon. You'll have to correct me on the time, but it definitely came in kind of late afternoon Sunday. And so they've been working on it since then. And you still got, I'm just looking at my window here, you got Provo Police on scene with the police caution tape kind of gardening off both areas that you're showing people at home. Mm-hmm. And they believe they're going to, and I just saw a number of different Provo officers, forensics investigators coming on the scene, doing a number of different jobs, all related to gathering information, gathering evidence. But that just started in the last hour. So we're going to anticipate that they're going to be here for at least some time today. But owing to what Provo Police had told me already, that most of the work was done. How long they'll be here today is uncertain. We know they just got started this morning.
Oh, what a really sad ending to this missing persons case there. And like you said, you've been talking to neighbors who, I mean, totally kind of blindsided by this, would never have suspected this from their neighbor. I heard your interview with one neighbor who said they were just out talking last night, didn't even think about it. Like it wasn't even something that would have crossed their mind in talking with this individual. All right, Brian Carlson joined us live from the scene. Thank you. We appreciate that. We'll get an update from you on KSL 5 News at noon. So Brian, appreciate your time there. We'll let you get back to it. I'll bring this back up. We'll let him get going. So there you go. That's the very latest on what's happening there in the Provo area. I want to, again, this is in the 700 block of Heather Lane. This was a body that was discovered in a shed yesterday, at some point yesterday, and it turns out that Arturo Carrion, 53 years old, arrested in connection with the death of an ex-girlfriend who Springville police confirmed, Lisa Hyde, who was last seen around the end of December, according to a post on their Facebook page just a short time ago. And so that's the connection there of this missing woman. And apparently there had been some sort of a history of domestic violence between the two. And so we'll stay on scene there. Brian's gathering more information. We'll get more from him coming up on KSL 5 News at noon, but wanted to bring you the very latest on this breaking situation. Really sad, unfortunate scene unfolding there in Provo, knowing that this woman had been murdered, had been in the shed, and that there had been some a violent crime that had taken place at some point. We'll get more details on that as this investigation unfolds, but that's the very latest there from Provo. So continue to follow along with KSLTV.com, KSL.com as well, and over on KSL TV, KSL 5 News at noon, and we'll bring you updates as we get them into the newsroom. But that's the very latest here from the KSL Stream Center. Thanks, everybody.